Welcome everyone to Museum of Futures. I'm Claire Marshall.
And I'm Mel Rumble.
And we thought we might take you on a bit of a tour of the exhibition Our Shared Futures, which is currently at New South Wales Parliament.
Let's do it.
So we're going to start here with an acknowledgement of country. Here at Parliament we're on Gadi country, which is part of the Eora Nation, and we have a beautiful acknowledgement of country here, a sound piece created by First Nations poet Nicole Smead. Museum of Futures, what is it? Well, to start with, it's a paradox, but that's what's quite fun about it. When we tend to think of what a museum is, we think of an institution, a building where items are collected, stolen maybe, and put on display to tell us about the past. But instead, this museum doesn't have a home. We've been everywhere from New South Wales Parliament, to shopping centres, to the foyers of big buildings, to universities. And all of the artworks that we're going to show you here today have been created by artists and communities in collaboration together.
Yeah, that's the big thing about Museum of Futures. It's about community and participation.
So our first artwork that we're going to show to you today, this is called In Your Hands, is by the artist Nadia Anderson and the Sydney Wildlife Rescue community.
My name's Nadia Anderson. I'm an artist, a designer and sculptor. I've always been involved with environmental issues and what is happening to us on this planet and to everything around us. The piece that I produced for Museum of Futures is called In Your Hands. We are amazingly gifted in Australia with a huge range of native wildlife, but it's horrifying to think that in the last 50 years we've lost over 300 species of native wildlife. And a lot of that is to do with just development. It's cutting down forests, it's draining marshes, it's polluting waterways. We've done a lot of damage, but on top of all that, we now have climate change. So creatures, including us, are going to have to find ways of surviving in this environment. So coming back to my piece, it's called In Your Hands. It depicts two human hands, which are my arms. I sculpted in clay and then moulded, cast. So the two human hands, they're in a position of holding, and I've tried to make them look like tree trunks because trees and the bush are what sustain the life of so many of our native species. On the hands and in the hands and around the hands are very tiny pewter animals, a range of Australian animals, and they're being supported by, nurtured by, protected by the tree arms that are there. They're protected by the glass dome, which is to signify a protected environment. Inside the protected environment, they're all doing really well. They're happy, they're climbing, they're eating, they're surviving. Outside that protected environment, things look pretty desolate. And that could be the possible future, that if we don't actively set about doing things to protect our native environment, that's wildlife, it's flora and fauna, it's all the plants as well that we have that are unique here in Australia. If we don't start doing something to protect them, it's not going to be there in another 20, 30 years.
And this beautiful piece is by Jeff McCann and in collaboration with the Rainbow Families community.
Hi, I'm Jeff McCann. I'm an artist, illustrator and maker, and I've been working full-time as an artist for the past 7 years. And my work revolves around a lot of different things. The main focus is around making work that is playful, making work that is inclusive, and making work that is really sustainable or has a sustainable approach to it. I was partnered with Rainbow Families, which was pretty perfect because I have been in contact with them for quite a few years, and I've actually done a workshop for a Rainbow Families event back in Mardi Gras a few years ago. And I've always known about them, and so that was great. And the inspiration that I got from their responses rung pretty true to just like who I am as well, which was great. It was kaleidoscope effect. There was that there's infinite possibilities for play and imagination in the world, and that everyone is a potential playmate, which is just such a cute and wholesome but like powerful thing to think about. And that's exactly what I wanted to tap into straight away, was this idea of infinite options. And it started with, for me, I took it straight to the cardboard, and for me that's what I connected with, is that my cardboard is my infinite options.
All right, moving along, this is the beautiful Bear Mountain. This was created by Guy Fredericks with the Studio A Artist Collective. And the Studio A Artist Collective is a collective of artists who all have a disability, and they're doing amazing things at the moment. They've actually had finalists in the Archibald Prize for the last few years. They've done fashion collaborations, and Guy's artwork is winning awards, so we're very proud to have this in the exhibition.
My name is Guy, and I'm an artist at Studio A. I have developed my own style of sculpture. I'm using armature wire, butcher's paper and paper mache, while I also do painting and drawing. My work usually depicts animal portraits and nature. Yeah. The Bear Mountain is the sculpture that I made for Museum of Futures. Bear Mountain represents the regeneration of the earth and long period of hibernation. It is the earth coming back to life after the bushfire, floods and the COVID-19 pandemic. What I want to see happen in the future is, I love to see us solve the energy problem, the way we use nature to generate it. Nature doesn't have a problem, but the way we use it as a resource, the problem is the way we use it as a resource to generate power.
And this wonderful piece is called Haptic Hubs. It's by Jasmine Crasian in collaboration with the National Centre for Indigenous Excellence. And it's a wonderful piece talking about being in country when you're not able to be connected to people. It was actually made right in the height of the COVID lockdowns, and it's a very salient piece for that very reason.
This is a playful kinetic sculpture by Annie McKinnon with the Dirt Girl community. So we really wanted in this exhibition to make sure that we featured young voices, because after all, when we're talking about the future, of course we're talking about young people. So this sculpture you can also play with. You can pull it all apart, and you can put it back together in different ways. Now that I'm going to do this, I'm going to break it.
Gotta love that, an anagram.
Yeah. This is a beautiful piece that in the end actually has quite a link to the piece that we unveiled during this exhibition, but we'll get to that in a minute.
This wonderful piece, The Ghosts of Coal Past, is by Louis Pratt, and that was in collaboration with the Green Ups community, who said basically no to coal. And this is actually a piece completely cast out of coal. It's quite striking and very, very heavy.
I'm Louis Pratt, and I'm an artist that has done lots of work focusing on climate change. To do that, I worked with coal as a material. It's a dirty business. And I've really teased out lots of different angles about what climate change is and how it affects us. And I like to make figurative works as a way for audiences really to engage with the works. I partnered with Green Ups, and we focused on the value of entertainment to get across a message. And I think that entertainment is a very potent tool. And if you think about all art, there is a level of entertainment in it. And in the context of the work that I made for the Museum of Futures, The Ghost of Coal's Past, it's really talking about fossil fuels and presenting a character that is a bit like a Grim Reaper character. So it's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, but I think that's the value of using entertainment to get across messages.
This piece is a collaboration between photographer Orion Mitchell and the Sydney Artists and Art Galleries community. And yeah, this piece is a series of photographs. It's a really interesting story talking about universal basic income and how with the advent of AI, which is a very salient conversation to be having at the moment, we really changed the kind of jobs that we valued, that jobs that had care at their heart became the jobs that we valued. So this is a lovely, lovely piece.
My name's Orion Mitchell. I'm a photographer, artist, and my practice in art and my interest in art is kind of exploring things that are strange and sort of surreal and, you know, sort of a bit weird, and discovering that in like our everyday kind of lived experience. Yeah, the inspiration that I took from the Sydney Artists and Art Galleries community is the idea of the universal basic income. And I was also inspired by William Gibson's quote of, you know, the future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed yet. And that led me to looking more into, you know, this idea of the universal basic income and how our society might change to, or what our society might look like if that was sort of implemented. And I looked at how artists might benefit from that, how you know, people who are sort of carers, you know, might benefit from that, and yeah, and that sort of led me down, you know, this rabbit hole of kind of existential questions about, you know, how do we actually live a meaningful life? If we don't need to work, what is, how do we live our life? You know, what do we do with our time, you know, while we're here? I looked at how in certain areas of our society we already have some sort of a universal basic income, you know, and that during lockdown in particular, that looked like the kind of expanded COVID payments, you know, that people on Centrelink and students and such were receiving. So I knew that down at the ICC, once it gets dark, a bunch of street dancers just turn up and make use of all the mirrors, all the reflective glass, you know, around that area, and they have their dance crews and they, you know, practice their routines. And I thought, hey, why don't I just go down there, see if anybody's interested in doing photos with me, and see what happens.
So this piece is a collaboration between artists Paul Brown and Linda Dement and Peacock, which is the Palliative Care Outcomes collaboration. And it's a beautiful piece, very, very, again, linked in with what was going on during COVID. Talking about just personal stories about the experience of not being able to be with loved ones during a time of lockdown.
I'm Linda Dement. I'm an artist and I've been working with computers mostly for a long time, and I have a long-standing interest in bodies and technologies. We were partnered with the Palliative Care Outcome Collaboration Group from University of Wollongong, and they're just really intensely good people who are looking into improving end-of-life situations, palliative care. That was pretty marvellous. I mean, it was lockdown, so we only had Zoom meetings with them. I think it was only 2 Zoom meetings with them. But we could really feel this sort of intensity and expertise and very high level of commitment to what they were doing. And they were really, they were strongly impacted by coronavirus, of course, because you can imagine if you are in palliative care and the pandemic has hit, there were some new and really awful issues around not being able to have your loved ones around you, or all sorts of things. So it was great of them to take the time to be involved in this, given the situation. Through those conversations, we were inspired by a lot of things really, but there was one discussion, and within that, one of the nurses said, "You only get to die once, so you might as well do it in the way that you prefer." And I'm misquoting there, but it was roughly that sort of sentiment. And we thought, yeah, that's really true.
Well, the collaborations group were, I suppose, uniquely impacted by the COVID epidemic. an organisation that's devoted to allowing the best possible palliative care in Australia, suddenly facing a situation where the parameters are so dramatically changed that, for example, you've got the situation where loved ones couldn't even be in the presence of someone who was in their last days. You could feel the way that was impacting the researchers. And in terms of the direction of that research and how it inspired us, seemed to us it was all about ensuring that the person remains centre of the palliative care framework, which obviously includes carers and family and technicians, doctors and facilities and so on. And that devotion to making that happen was really the starting point for us. At the same time, we weren't oblivious to some of the technical advances, scientific and technical advances that were about prolonging life. And that led us to the cardiovascular research unit at UTS as well, where they are doing research on alternative methods of treating heart damage. And when you see our exhibit, it is fairly simple. It's a human heart with a patch on it. A patch that in the future would be made from a patient's own cells, turning those into heart cells, which can create a patch that can be adhered to a heart, and that becomes an alternative to the much more traumatic heart transplant technology. So that's what the heart represents. But around the outside of that exhibit, there are two little stories. One reflects a moment before death, and the other reflects a number of moments after death. So even though in the future the options for prolonging life may well change, including this new heart technology, we wanted to put a reminder there of the way in which it's the circle, the network, the caring circle around the person, whether they're in end of life or the palliative care stage, that remains important.
So this is one of my favourite pieces here. This is a collaboration between illustrator Rocco Fazzari and the New Economy Network Australia. And we'll pick this one up and have a bit of a play with this one. And when we heard the responses from the New Economy Network Australia, I said to Rocco, oh my gosh, I think I might have an idea for how we're going to do this. Because my son had been given a book called What Do People Do All Day? That was a Richard Scarry book. Most of you might even have read a Richard Scarry book. They were quite popular. And this book illustrated what life was like in 1969, 1970. So we imagined what would people do all day, the 2050 version. So Rocco illustrated this whole book, and there's some really fun things in here I want to show you. So in the original book, they had building a road. So we decided that we would put removing a road so that we could have markets and bicycle paths and community gardens. In the original, they had powering the town with coal. So in our 2050, our town is of course powered by renewable energy. And then in the original book, they had everyone is a worker. And so we reimagined that as everyone is a helper. And we imagined borrowing exchanges, communal autonomous vehicles, and community carers, and community savings banks. So this is a lovely piece. One day we might do the whole book.
My name is Rocco Fazzari. I've been an artist creator for a long time, many decades, and I used to work as a cartoonist illustrator for Fairfax publications, Sydney Morning Herald, The Age, Canberra Times, you name it, I've done it. Exhibit, painting, make short films, a few other things. I was partnered with the New Economy Network, and they inspired me to create artwork in a style of Richard Scarry. The book originally titled What Do People Do All Day? So I loved the kind of rustic feel of the original, the geeky kind of goofy style, which I tried to reinterpret into a modern take that would, include the new economy network ideology into, The road that was laid in the 60s, we've dug it up and turned it into a garden. That was fun to do. Okay, the work was created hand-drawn on my iPad, and I was always conscious that it still had to have a kind of a rustic feel about it, so to reflect the original, but also a modern take. So I was able to use the Procreate drawing app, which allowed me to use brushes and inks that was in the style of the original, but you can see there's a digital take on it. Then we collated all the drawings together and laid them out onto page format, and we turned it into a book, And so it looked as much as possible like the original, a parody of the original book.
And this is our last piece here. This is called Floated Hope and is by the artist Naz Jabeli and her refugee community. And this, funnily enough, this was the very last piece to join the exhibition, because in the middle of doing this work, Naz received her refugee visa. So Naz is a refugee from Iran and was in Australia, and this, getting her visa sort of turned her life upside down, but in a good way. And what in this piece she really wanted to say is that we often have a narrative around refugees as that we are just simply giving refugee stuff. And what she wanted to say is that refugees have so much to give us back. Lessons in resilience and in how to live in extreme conditions and how to work through trauma and grow through trauma. So this is a beautiful piece, and our lucky last one to join.
My name is Naz. I'm the artist, founder and creative director of Jabeli, specializing in design and leather craft. I made that piece for Museum of Future to represent refugees in our community, especially when they were going through tough times during the pandemic. What I made in my art was with wire that represent the toughness and the hardships that they were going through. And the other ingredient that I used in creating that piece of art was resin, that it shows our world, the unknown one, something that we all have fear of. So I was hoping with creating this piece of art, I could bring the feeling of the fear and the difficulties and hardships that individuals, especially from refugee background, they're going through. And I hope if we see one, we're going to welcome them and support them in any way. Thank you so much.
So our latest work that was created thanks to funding from the Australia Council for the Arts and for City of Sydney is the incredible Yadanji. I'm so proud of this beautiful work. So this was created by Michael Robinson and Nicole Smead and has a few kind of components to it. The first is an absolutely amazing sound piece. We will make sure that we put the link below. Everyone should listen to it. You should listen to it somewhere quiet where you can feel the whole sound. I think there's hundreds of samples and it feels like you're just existing in all time at once. Nicole has done an absolutely incredible job. But this piece also consists of 31 now different plaques with transformative events on it that are linked together by string or rope that has been knotted to show the connections that we have along the way. And then sitting in the very center is this absolutely amazing carving that's been done by Michael Robinson.
My name is Nicole Smead. I'm a musician, a vocalist and a poet. I have Worimi ancestry as well as European ancestry, German, Irish and English. So I created a sound piece for Yadanji with that idea of time in mind and the concept that all time is happening simultaneously. We have a notion, it's not a notion, a belief, a knowing in our First Nations ways that there's every when. So every when is happening all the time. So the past, the present and the future are all energetically vibrating simultaneously. And so my sound work really takes that belief and that knowing and tries to, in the best way that I can, show that through sound, honouring country. So the sounds of the birds, the whales, trees, the water, all of those beautiful elements of country circling through time, backwards and forwards. Yeah, I took a lot of sound recordings. I love walking on country and taking recordings as I go. So all of the sounds in this work have come from the country that I live on, which is Gumia Dharawal and Wadi Wadi country. So I just go for walks and I take my recorder with me and I take those sounds, and then I take them back into the home and put them on my computer, cut them up, and really then just play with them and see what stories want to be told. My invitation is to listen deeply to the work, to listen to not only the sounds that you're hearing, but the way that this makes you feel in your body. So it's meant to be an experiential, immersive experience that takes you through this sense of time being immemorial and everlasting and always.
I am a Wandrian Dharawal Murrumarang Walbunja man from down the south coast of New South Wales, Jervis Bay, lovely area. I'm an artefacts and traditional tools maker, and I also do a lot of work in community, helping out the youth and young fellas and stuff like that. So that's a little bit about me. Yaranji is really sacred. When we say Yaranji, it means not just thank you. A lot of people go around and they say, oh, Aboriginal people haven't got a word for thank you. Well, thank you is said every day, thanks, thank you, and it loses its meaning. With Yaranji, it's I appreciate you. It's that depth in saying, I love what you've done, thank you very much, very, very much, if I was to say it in English. But it's also said from not only here, it's said from within your spirit and within your art. Yaranji, I appreciate you. It's got a deep meaning. The concept was time. I had hardly no time to make it. But the concept was time with this art piece and how it reflects where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. So if I was to rewind just 300 years ago, we were only taking what we needed. There was no wheels, there was no greed. And then if I fast forward into 1788, 1800s, 1900s, well, the occupation came and we started taking what we wanted. And our mother started struggling because we were losing respect for her. And then in 2023, not only have we taken what's here, we've also started taking what's inside of her as well. So if you could imagine ripping into a woman's womb and taking all of that beautiful sacredness out of her, what she left with. This piece of wood here is a cypress pine, and it was out of the 2020 fires. So it was slabbed up. I was lucky enough to go down and see a very good friend of mine, and he said, I've got this for you. And it actually came out of the 2020 fires, so it's survived that and it's been reborn, just like everything. So the story and everything, the concept of time is so fitting, and then to have this piece of beautiful cypress pine to work with that has survived such a harsh thing that happened to our country, and then to give it life again. But it's also got a story of its own as well, just like all we do.